Hello, Internet. So today I want to show you how to build an Angular 2 Angular CLI app, demo the newest router, and give you a quick demo of template-driven forms. Here's the latest versions. Angular 2 is at RC4. Hopefully RC5 is coming out soon, I think. Router is at 3.0 beta 2. Angular CLI is at 1.0 beta 11. And Webpack, which was just released this week, Angular 2 or Angular Forms is at 0.0. Today I'm going to be prototyping the ngtattoo app. It's going to be really exciting, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to create an Angular 2 Angular CLI app. Then we're going to go ahead and configure materialize CSS, talk about the Angular 2 Angular CLI app structure, show you how to create components, use the new router, create a template-driven form, and then deploy to Firebase. So first things first is creating an Angular 2 Angular CLI app. To use the latest version of Angular CLI, just npm install Angular CLI Webpack. Then I know that the guys are working on this and there's a PR out for it, but you need to npm install this version and then go to your package.json and make sure there's no caret in your dev dependencies. Then you should be able to ng new and ng serve, and that should just work. And then what we need to do is configure materialize CSS. So npm install materialize CSS. Especially with the new CLI, it's really easy. You don't have to configure your Angular CLI build.js file anymore or your systemconfig.ts file. You just add these 3 lines to your index.html file and you're all set. So if you are doing this and your server's going, what you should see is app works in this font, and then when materialize CSS is configured properly, then you should see app works right here. Now let's go into talking about the Angular 2 Angular CLI app structure. So Angular 2 is component based, which means that there's like a main app component. So there's a CSS file, HTML file, a spec file, and a TS file. As I mentioned earlier, with Angular CLI Webpack changes, there is no more Angular CLI build.js or a systemconfig.ts file. There's a main.ts file, which you configure your bootstrap in as well. So creating components is actually also really easy. Basic component generation is just ng generate component dash name. There needs to be a dash in between the component name since that's the convention. Here's some shortcuts and configurations. So ng dash dash help actually gives you a full list of all the things you can generate. Usually when you generate a component, it creates 4 of the same files for you, right? It'll create an HTML file, a CSS file, a spec file, and then also your TS file. So nggc-is-it-no spec. What that does is that creates a component, and it doesn't generate an HTML file. It actually puts all your it puts inline style in your TS file, and then inline template as well, and then also doesn't generate the spec file, which is kind of awesome. So let's go into the code now. Go ahead and go into my terminal. I've already set up a demo, let's see, just like an app that we can get started with really easily. That's sort of like slightly configured already. So if I open that up in Atom, okay, and I also want to go ahead and ng serve. You can actually use ngs as a shortcut. Okay, and I always forget to do this. Git checkout -b. Okay. So since I ng served, I should be able to go to my local host and see it running. Yay! And what you'll see is materialize CSS, and then, you know, these are just hashes, right? And this is where I'm going to be configuring the router, and we're going to have 3 routes. I've already created my components, so you'll see I have a about page, a get tattooed. This is where we're going to put a form so people can request getting tattooed. And then we have a tattoo card where there's pictures of everybody with tattoos. So in order to use the router, because we want to get this part configured first, we're going to go ahead and create an app.routes.ts file. App.routes.ts. The guys are working on nggenerate, which is going to be awesome. So in this router file, what you're doing is you're importing the components that you are going to route to, and then you're also defining your actual routes. So I already have this, where's my copy pasta? To make things faster. Okay, so I have my tattoo card component from tattoo card. So by the way, in every component, if you just go to the TS file, you'll see that there's a selector there if you want to just use a component directly on the page. And then you also have the class. And this is generated by the CLI. I would say that even though you can edit these and call them whatever you want, it's better to stick with the conventions so that when other people are looking at your code or later on, like, you don't have to think about it, because that's the last thing you want to think about. For the pass, I created an empty string. The empty string is what will show if a route is not defined, and then you know, you can call this anything you want, tattooed, whatever, about, get tattooed, and then which component is actually going to be routing to. Right? Okay, so now what we need to do is we actually need to go into our main.ts file and make sure that we're importing the router from there. So let's go back into the main.ts. Okay, and so I'm doing two things, right? So one thing I'm doing is I just created that routes file, and then I'm importing app routes because I was exporting app routes in the other one. And then Bootstrap, I just need to say provide router and then app routes, right? All right, so now that that's set up, and you can see this is refreshing. By the way, this is really helpful. Like if I'm missing something, for example. Oh, that worked. Why did that work? Well, let's go into this one, and like, let's say I'm forgetting that. It's just gonna say build error, and it'll tell me why, like line 24 something's, I don't know what it is, but anyways, so backtick, let's put that backtick back in there. So I always like to keep this running in the background to make sure that I actually everything's still working, I didn't break something. Okay, so I need to go ahead and import router directives from the router. There we go. Go add a directive here. Router directives. Okay, everything is directives. Oops. Okay, there we go. Still working. All right. Need a router outlet, so let's go ahead and do that. Router outlet. I know I need to get Emmett working. All right, so router outlet, and then let's go ahead and change these up here. So I had tattooed. Oh, I had get tattooed, right? And you can call these anything, obviously, about. Okay, and then instead of this href, I'm just going to say router link equals tattooed. And I think this was get tattooed. And this is just about. There we go. And that should work. Okay, you see the routes changing, right? And then this, I see that the component get tattooed, there's nothing in it, but the standard verbiage shows up. Yay, awesome. Also want to make this center because I think it's prettier. There we go. Okay, so that is how you use the basic router. Now let's go ahead and make this into an actual pretty, like we got to get all these tattoos showing up. So we're going to use ngFor to display the data. And what we want to do is, let's see, this is not in Get Tattooed actually, it's in Tattoo Card. And I've already set up, you know, the image of Pascal, obviously. And I have in my public folder, I actually have an image folder with all these tattoos of people, right? So first things first, I need to just create an array of tattoos. So let me go back into, where am I? Get tattooed. No, it's not in Get Tattooed. It's actually in Tattoo Card. Okay, Tattoo Card. And I've already created an array here for me. Okay, let's put that right there. Okay, and then we just go up here and we just say ngFor let tattoo of tattoos, because I called it tattoos. And then, oh, see that? All right, and then this is, let's see, tattoo dot number. That should work. Okay, everybody's face is there. And then over here we say tattoo dot Twitter. And that should work. Yay, lovely. Okay, so now we have something that actually looks nice. Now let's go ahead and create a template-driven form for this. So in order to use forms, I actually need to add it into my system config, but with the new router, you actually don't have to do this, but it was too difficult to try to figure out at midnight last night. Okay, and then I want to go ahead and create a, let's go ahead and create a model first. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my CLI and just make sure. Okay, so ng generate class. I want it to be under get tattooed, and I'm going to call it submissions. And then it's going to be a model. So this is going to generate two files for me, my spec file and my model. There we go. Okay. And there we go. And then here we can go ahead and define our inputs. So get tattooed. Well, actually, you know what I do need is I actually need the form that we're going to do this with. So I'm going to go ahead and add the form in here. Let's see. Form, component, get tattooed. Okay, there's that. That looks pretty, right? It's not working. This is materialized CSS. Just makes everything look gorgeous. And actually, I think the other thing I want to do is let me just really quickly go and configure my main.ts file with the forms. So main.ts. So the old forms are going through a deprecation phase. So you need to disable deprecate forms and then provide the forms. And then we also need this little thing right here and put that into our bootstrap. There we go. All right, everything still works. Yes, okay. All right, let's go back into, I'm done with this, done with this. Okay, so creating my model. So my model, I want to say, let's see, there's first name, last name, and email, right? So first name is going to be a string, last name, string, and then email, string, okay? And then let's go ahead and create a property over here, and we'll say submissions is of type submissions. And then let's see, first name and just create empty strings. And then email. Okay, save that. Doesn't work for some reason. Why? Oh, you know why? Because you need to actually import it. So let's go ahead and import your model. Import submissions from submissions.model. Does it work? Does it work? Oops. Submissions.model. Import submissions from, am I doing the dot wrong? Where's my copy pasta? What's submissions from submissions? Oh, that's right. Oops, equals. See, this is why I love the CLI. Boom. Okay, there we go. All right, so we got things set up, and now let's go ahead and this is what ngModel is going to bind to. So in all of my inputs, I need to add in ngModel, and then I also need to have it as a name. With Materialize CSS, this already gives me an ID, so I'm just going to call the name first name, just like the ID. So banana box. I hate that ngModel, banana box. That needs to be a better name. It's so silly. Okay, and then we say submissions dot first name is what I called it in my model. And then we say name equals first underscore name. There we go, save that, make sure I didn't break anything. All right, still works. Okay, and then input for last name is going to be the same. Last name right there, and then another for the email. All right, there we go. All right, still working, still working. Okay, now we actually have to turn this into a form, right? So in my form, there we go. Define a local variable. So we'll call it my form equals ng form. And then we need an ng submit equals submit form, which is a function that we're going to define later, and submit, and then pass in your local template variable. All right, so now we need to go ahead and create our submit form over here and see what it actually does. And I'm just going to copy pasta that. This is just going to be a quick alert box that spits out the values because, yay, for demo purposes. Oh, it doesn't like me. Why? Why doesn't it like me? What happened? It's not like this. Submit form, my form, ng form. Cannot find name ng form. I probably ng submit form. Oh, did I like not import forms? Yeah. Okay. Of course. Import forms. Don't forget to do that. All right, there we go. So if I say Tracy and I put my email address, submit. Oh, there we go. It works. All right. So now we have, simple routes using ng4 here. You can actually submit. I need to get it up on Firebase. I need to like actually make this into a real form at some point in time. But now what we can do is we can actually go to Firebase, go to console. Oh, this is going to be so exciting. Create a new project and we'll call it NGYay. I'm in Raleigh right now, so we'll call it RDU. Go over here. First things first, so hosting, and then get started. You have to install the CLI tools if you haven't done that already. Firebase login. Are you guys excited? I'm so excited right now. Firebase init. Oh my goodness. Okay, hosting. Okay, this is important actually. So you need to yay RDU, database rules.json's fine. I'm gonna put this in my dist. That's my public directory. Yes, it's a single page app. No, don't overwrite it. Firebase deploy. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Who knows? Who knows? All right, it's preparing. Go Firebase! Don't know why it's still preparing my dist. Usually goes faster than this. Do 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 do. Do you see them both uploading? That's kind of cool, right? I thought so. Do 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 do. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and visit the URL. Oh my goodness. Is it up? Hold your breath, everybody. I feel like Firebase always takes a little bit of time to load for some reason. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's so magical. Okay, and then you can actually go to get tattooed and you can say, yay, it works. And then we can say me at me.com. Ta-da! So great. All right, guys, you can follow me on the internet if you like, at Lady Leet. And I have to thank Deborah for helping me, Felipe for helping me, Sean Larkin, Broccoli, Gerard. Ben always helps me on everything. And there's actually, if you go to my Medium, you can see all the different posts, like getting started with Angular 2 forms, Angular 2's new router, displaying with ng4, using materialized CSS. This is using Angular Material too, but anyways, that's that. See if I have anything else in here. No, it's basically it. So we created an Angular CLI Angular 2 app. We configured materialized CSS. We talked about the app structure. We created components. We used the new router. We learned how to create a form, and we deployed to Firebase. All in how many minutes? Less than 25 minutes. Congratulations. I will talk to you all later.